Most people think they're lazy. They're not. Their brains have just been trained to avoid effort, which means the harder you try using willpower alone, which is most people's strategy, the harder effort will feel, the worse productivity will feel. 2 years ago, I couldn't stick to a routine for more than 3 days. I would start it, stop, think something was wrong with me. I remember sitting at my bed at 2 a.m. planning out the perfect routine that I probably wouldn't follow. Today I train daily, follow through automatically, and have started from zero more times than I'd like, always catching up, usually exceeding the point I was at before. Not because I became more disciplined, but because I understood the one neurological mistake that almost everyone makes. In this video, I'll show you why productivity advice keeps you stuck, what's actually happening inside your brain, and the 2 tools you can employ immediately that will change it for you forever. Most people don't struggle with productivity because they're lazy. They struggle because their reward system has been hijacked. Social media, streaming, games, constant stimulation on demand. Your brain learns from repetition, so over time it starts expecting high reward for low effort. Once that happens, studying, working out, things that are good for you start feeling impossible to do by comparison. Your brain compares deep work to dopamine hits to the bad habits the same way vegetables would compare to sugar, and your brain will always pick the faster reward. This is the real problem. It's not laziness, it's not a lack of discipline, it's a miscalibrated reward system. And once you understand this, the fix stops being mysterious. This is where most advice goes wrong. A dopamine detox is not about quitting your phone for 24 hours. It's not about resetting your dopamine receptors. It's about retraining the way your brain perceives worth effort. And here's the part most people miss. Your brain isn't addicted to dopamine. It's addicted to easy certainty. So during a dopamine detox, when you deliberately remove high stimulation inputs, something interesting happens. Your baseline shifts. Silence stops feeling uncomfortable, work stops feeling unbearable, and slow progress starts feeling rewarding again. This is neuroplasticity. Your brain strengthens the pathways you use most often and weakens the ones you abandon. Your brain becomes whatever you repeatedly ask it to do, which is why consistency always beats motivation, always beats intensity. You have to work with your brain, not against it. And here's why most people fail. They try to quit everything overnight. 3 days later, they relapse. They think there's something wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with them. They just tried changing the behavior without changing the conditions. I've had to restart from zero more times than I'd like, and every single time, change didn't stick until I did one of 2 things. Either there was a major environmental shift or a major identity shift. So an environmental shift is a new schedule, new job, new surroundings. A major identity shift is when you genuinely begin to see yourself as a different person. However, here's the paradox. This is why this is tricky. Environment shapes identity, and identity is what makes you seek out that environment in the first place. So obviously most people will feel stuck, and this is where the tools come in. First tool, progressive overload. And yes, I know this sounds dumb, but this is why it works. When I started building the habit of going to the gym, I didn't start by actually going to the gym. Day 1, brush your teeth and shower. Day 2, put your gym clothes on. Day 3, shoes on. Eventually, you can walk inside the gym. You can do an entire workout. You can leave, and you can do it consistently. If you could have started big, you would have. The goal isn't intensity. The goal is removing failure as an option. Start small enough that consistency becomes automatic, then slowly increase difficulty until the behavior runs without negotiation. Remember, always have consistency as the base, as the fundamentals, and then intensity afterwards. So the second tool changed everything for me, and I discovered it by accident. It's visualization, right? It sounds very hippie and, woo-woo. However, it actually works. There's science backing it up. If you don't believe me, you can watch the video I released before this, or it'll pop up somewhere. When I was younger, I constantly replayed situations in my head, arguments, things like that, and I thought I was just overthinking or something I did for fun. But when those moments would happen in real life, I would feel strangely acclimated to them. I would be able to deal with them very smoothly. I knew what to say. I didn't feel uncomfortable. This is called mental rehearsal. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish between imagined experiences and things in reality, or things you've actually experienced in reality. And don't take my word for it, Olympic athletes, musicians use it, military commanders have used it for years, for centuries. Here's how you use it. Close your eyes and build the scene in detail, what the room looks like, how the air feels, how your future self speaks and moves. Run it repeatedly, and when that scene arrives in reality, you already know what to do. Your brain in neuroscience does not resist intensity or effort, it resists uncertainty. And familiar territory doesn't trigger resistance from uncertainty. These tools don't eliminate distraction, they just make effort feel natural again. Same brain, same patterns, same excuses. The only difference was understanding what was actually broken and fixing that. Now you know what it is. The rest isn't motivation, it's repetition.